I read the Jasad Heir, so let's talk about it. The Jasad Heir follows Sylvia, who is the lost heir to Jasad, and she is in hiding in one of the outlying kingdoms that destroyed Jasad after 10 years. And she can't use her magic. She doesn't want to go back to Jasad. She can't help her people. She has no loyalty to her people. She is a very reluctant hero throughout this entire story. But she is eventually captured by one of the other heirs, Aaron. And instead of killing her like they kill all of the other Jasadis, he offers her the choice, or he offers her. He says that she is going to be his champion in the challenges that they have coming up, where they will fight against other competitors throughout the kingdom to be the kind of nation's champion, sort of, all in honor of like the gods that they worship. And she's like, cool. Don't really love that because I'm doing it for the kingdom that killed my people, right? So she has this whole conflicting internal conflict about what's right and what's wrong, but she is also like, I have no loyalty to my people, so I have to do what I have to do to survive. So very interesting dynamic you have going on there, internal conflict. Very different dynamic to read about and perspective to put yourself through as to what you think is right and wrong, especially as somebody who reads these books where you have these epic heroes that go on these quests and have these moral codes where, like, yeah, they would absolutely serve their kingdom. They would never, bow to the whims of another. They would never, give in to and serve the kingdom that destroyed their home. They would absolutely go back and help the people that were left behind. And then as I'm reading this, I started thinking about what was happening in the book, and it reminded me about Throne of Glass, particularly the first one. Literally Throne of Glass, where Celaena has to go through all these tasks to become the king's champion, because that is what Sylvia is doing. She's going through all these tasks to become the champion. And she's competing against other people. That's what Celaena did. She competed against other people. She's training with Aaron, the heir, and his guards. That's what Celaena did. She trained with the guards. And she can't use her magic. Her magic is trapped. And she has no access to it. And that's how it was with Celaena. She could not use her magic. It was trapped. She could not use it. They're both lost heirs to an empire. Again, you've got the differentiating factor being how willing they are to go back home and rule, where Celaena obviously wants to go back and she'll help her people and is willing to do that. And Sylvia doesn't. Ruling it means very little to her. She doesn't think she can provide anything for that kingdom and what's left of it. So seeing those parallels, though, throughout the book as it developed was very interesting as to how similar they were, and those two characters became as those events drew out. The dynamic between the two characters, the love interest, Aaron, and Sylvia, was also a lot of fun to read. They were just like butting heads for the majority of the time and kind of getting on each other's nerves, which is always just like a fun little, topic and trope to read when it's really just them kind of grinding each other's gears. It's not really, it's enemies to lovers, it is, but you also have her just like pushing his buttons. Which is funny to me. And by the end, they're like falling in love, which is great. And then the biggest criticism, though, that I have of this book I would say that the pacing is super strange. There were points where it felt like it was dragging because you have this big talk about these trials. The whole thing is like, these trials are going to happen. That's what everything is about. She's this champion for this reason. They don't happen until the last third of the book. And then they happen very, very quickly. And there's 3 of them that have to happen. And so there were things that literally I was like, why is this happening? What is the point of this occurring? And then there were parts that it just felt like an info dump. And then other parts where I felt like information was just kind of skipped over or like glossed over, and I missed something and just didn't comprehend what was going on because pieces of the puzzle essentially weren't there. So that's kind of just what I would say about this book, is that the pacing is just a little off. But overall, it's a good book. I rated it a 3 stars, and I had fun reading it. There were just points that I was confused on. But overall, it was a good book, and I had fun. So that is the Jasad Heir.